I was like, oh my God. And that's what I said. And the Secret Service dude just like beat red, like trying not to laugh. And I was like, and this dude, like 2 minutes later, he walks in with him and Jill Biden and their little entourage of people and like a photographer. And right away, like, remember him coming up to me, trying to shake my hand, like, try to shake my right hand. And I look at him and I'm like, I don't have an arm. And my left arm is in this big ass cast with this giant orange foam block around it. I completely immobile. All I can do is move my head. My arm's gone. I'm like, I don't have an arm. And he says, oh, and like kind of stands up and then like goes over to reach for my fingers because about an inch of my fingers are showing, and just like grabs my fingers. Doesn't greet me or anything. Just, that's what happened. Just grab my fingers. And I was like, okay, that's weird. And, almost immediately starts talking like about how their son served in the military. Doesn't say anything about what happened. Starts talking about how their son served in the military. And my mom is just like, she's furious at this point. And they're like taking pictures and stuff. And she was like, my mom said this, she was like, I don't give a f***. Say, I don't care what you guys f***ing do. She's like, you better take care of him for the rest of his f***ing life. And like, she said that. And I'm sitting there, and he comes over to me, and he leans over me. And I have a picture of this to prove it. I'll show you this picture that I have. It's a pretty funny picture. He leans over me, and he's like this close to my face, and he's like, what do you want? I said,
what do you want?
Yeah, he said, what do you want? I said, what? He said, what do you want? And I'm just like confused. I just got blown up. Just saw my friends die next to me. I'm like, I just want to be myself. And he's like, huh? And my mom's furious. And she's like, he said he just wants to be himself. He just wants to be him. He said he just wants to be me. And he goes, oh, okay. And they just continue to talk about everything but what just happened. And then they just ushered him out of the room. He didn't know what to say. They ushered him out of the room, and that was that. And my mom tried multiple times to get help from them, reaching out to the First Lady and try to get some legislation passed for caretakers like herself who own businesses who don't get any financial support for helping their fucking service member that just got his whole life torn apart. And she wanted to help other caretakers in the future have, because they didn't, there's certain amount of money that you can get as a caretaker depending on what you do and or help, but it's a process. And so she was working through that, but she wanted to pass legislation for future caretakers to help get, like, hey, if you run a business and you need to come take care of your son who, served their country and just got blown up, like, you can do that and not have to worry about financial for a little bit, you know what I mean? And so she was trying to get help with that, and they just pretended to help. They kind of just brushed her off and pretended like they were connecting her with the right individuals and didn't help her at all. And so obviously because of the Congress stuff now, my mom is since going to be moving forward with some stuff with some individuals who are actually going to help, but nothing came of that. And yeah, that was 2 days after that. I'm in the I'm just in bed, and I'm telling the doctors and the nurses for a couple of days, for like 2 days. I'm like, I can't breathe. Like, I can't breathe. And a buddy of mine, a doctor who works at the hospital. He's a resident right now. He was a reserve. He was in a reserve sniper platoon, and now he's in the Army as an officer, being a trauma surgeon. And as soon as it happened, he came in and he connected the Recon and Sniper Foundation guys, like got them to send out a flag and like decorate my room really nice. And be there for my mom and family. So he was there as a friend.
You all need to resign immediately. Our sons and daughters have more integrity in their little toes than every one of them combined.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. Some of these reads are harder to do than others. I got veterans in my family. I got Afghanistan veterans in my family. I got dudes who will never be the same again because they had to go door to door with a shotgun and have scars that are internal and external that will be with them for the rest of their lives. It will affect them, their families, and it's sobering to think that all of that was for utterly nothing. On this month, 2 years ago, the Biden regime withdrew the last of its troops from Afghanistan, August of 2021, signaling the end of nearly 20-year conflict that cost $8 trillion in the lives of 900,000 people, including 7,000 U.S. service members. The U.S. exit from Afghanistan cost $8 trillion. $8 trillion. That's what we spent in Afghanistan. That's a considerable portion of our national debt right now. It's like a fourth of our national debt was adventurism in Afghanistan. It resulted in the Taliban reestablishing armed control of the country and created a refugee crisis of over 1.5 million Afghans who fled. The withdrawal has been widely considered a disaster and a gross display of incompetent leadership from Joe Biden on down, echoing the failures in Saigon half a century earlier. Tyler Vargas was one of the service members who was the last on the ground, a Marine in Kabul just days before the embassy fell. Tyler Vargas was wounded in a suicide bombing at the gates of the Kabul airport after losing 2 of his limbs and the resulting injuries to a premeditated attack that was entirely predictable. 13 service members lost their lives. Tyler Vargas speaking there about what it's like to have jackwagon Joe Biden show up, shake his wounded arm, the one that wasn't blown off, not say hello, not know his name, only talk about himself and his kid, who did not die, by the way, in the line of service. Joe Biden only ever talking about himself and his problems. A selfish, sick, dementia-riddled degenerate that caused this man's mother to cry. Ooh. Boy, it'll get your blood boiling. We tweeted this earlier today. When I saw this clip, I was just blown away. I was like, Joe Biden's more evil than I even think he is. He's the worst president of our lifetime. Thing did major numbers. Clearly resonates. And it wasn't a one-off. You could argue maybe Joe Biden's having a terrible day. Maybe this family is, they hate Joe Biden. They're huge Trump supporters, right? So they're going to try and take it in the worst possible light. I don't know. But you can't argue that because every single family that meets Joe Biden, especially Gold Star families, tell the exact same story. Biden is a jack. Biden is an. Joe Biden is the worst president who ever lived. Biden administration lied to Gold Star family about Marine's death in Afghanistan. The fallen Marine's father said to Biden, "Be a grown-ass man." Joe Biden lied to this Gold Star mom who sobbed before members of Congress on Monday. She accused the Biden administration of lying about the circumstances of her Marine son's death. Her son, Staff Sergeant Darren Tyler Hoover, was one of the 13 service members killed in Afghanistan. Brent was the first of several relatives to speak to a congressional forum held on Monday. Didn't get any press coverage. Total blackout in the corporate media. I'm going to be brave and tell you about my kid. He's an amazing kid. I want you to know that I'm not a victim. We're not victims. We're parents of some mighty heroes. I want you to know that. She said her son's Concern about the controversial withdrawal began the moment that he landed for the final deployment. Chaos, no communication, lack of leadership. Barnett's voice was full of emotion, and she broke when her son was told to clean up the airport because we can't leave it dirty for the Taliban, serving the Taliban. The families of fallen were subsequently told lies and given incomplete and incorrect reports according to the grieving mother. She described the situation as a total disrespect. I was told to my face he died on impact. That's not true. The only reason that I know this is because witnesses told me the truth. I was lied to, basically to shut up. He lived for a little while. He was giving out his ammo. He tied a tourniquet around his leg. I don't understand the reasoning for that lie. It makes no sense other than the fact that they didn't want to do an investigation. Did they want to talk to witnesses? I don't know. It's cold comfort to know that the Afghanistan withdrawal has forever destroyed. This is the Afghanistan withdrawal right here. This inversion of Joe Biden's approval versus disapproval. Right there. Boom. Leading, of course, to the largest gap of approval versus disapproval in presidential history. 36 to 57. Disapprove, approve. Holy crap. Like, you have a massive 20-point spread there. So, Biden will never recover politically from this. Not the first time, of course. Tyler Vargas Andrews spoke about this. He spoke before Congress saying that everyone was murdered in his company.
Our military members and veterans deserve our best because that is what we give to America. The withdrawal was a catastrophe, in my opinion, and there was an inexcusable lack of accountability and negligence. The 11 Marines, 1 sailor, and 1 soldier that were murdered that day have not been answered for.
And what was Joe Biden busy doing? Looking at his watch. Remember this clip? Joe Biden stares at his watch during the dignified transfer. Right here, Joe Biden looks at his watch because he has better things to do than to watch the coffins, the caskets, flag draped, rolling off the plane at Dover Air Force Base in his home state. Didn't give any of the families any dignity. The families would go on to say that Joe Biden would yell at them and got argumentative with them behind the scenes at that dignified transfer, which is what that solemn ceremony is called. Joe Biden is a complete piece of human trash. And anybody who is a Joe Biden fan is also a piece of human trash because there is nothing to be a fan of in this administration. Hey, if you love this country and if you love the people who serve this country, then you cannot support Joe Biden. The end. Joe Biden represents communism, statism, totalitarianism, socialism. We are against all those things. You should like, share, and subscribe to our channel so we keep stories like these out and going. They don't want you to see stories like this. You need to see it. And these service members, Marines, sacred dead in our country, they deserve a lot better. It's your boy Benny. See ya.